Hey everybody. So we're here. This is Strakens and I in our hotel room. Well, after the last day of the show, we just went and had some tasty fish and chips.
We did.
And,
it was tasty.
It was tasty. And we figured we should probably record something while stuff is still like fresh in our mind before we forget anything.
Yeah,
so,
we officially got kicked out of the Comic-Con. Security told us we had to leave.
They nicely did. They were like, "Are you vendors?"
We're like, "No." Well,
like, then you kind of need
it's
to
time
leave.
for y'all to go.
Yeah. So
we wanted to stay, but we couldn't.
We did. We were having too much fun. Actually, we were talking to vendors because the vendors were like, "Well, we're vendors," and they're like, "No, you need to go."
Yeah.
So there you go. So we were going to kind of go over like a lot. Well, basically everything we got.
Yeah.
Even go over like some people we met. We've got stickers and business cards and all kinds of stuff to talk about things. So I guess I'll get the ball rolling. Like the first thing that I bought before you ever even landed on your plane was Avengers 57 in a 7.5. And everybody who's looked at this thinks it's going to clean and press. Actually, it was never cleaned and pressed. So I'm blocking out Mr. Akins' face.
That's cool.
The vision takes over Mr. Akins. So everybody thinks it's going to be a much higher grade. And we'll see if that actually shakes out. Jeff at Comic Spa was pretty excited with the way this looked. He said could be a 9 maybe if it gets all pressed out nicely. So good investment. I think I got this from Barry Gary, and cool book. And I paid $350 on that, I think, which was a steal of a deal. Steal of a deal. And then I'm trying to go in like chronological a little bit, but I don't want to because yours mostly came in one clump, so maybe we'll do yours in little pieces.
Okay,
I don't want to do.
You want to break it up? You want me to go?
Yeah. Let me do one more, okay. And then because I bought way more stuff than he did. Next thing I got was this one, which is Doctor Strange in his first self-titled book. Doctor Strange 169 and a 7.5. Unlike the other one, I don't think it's much higher grade than what it is listed at. It might be an 8 with some DLC, but also looked at it and didn't look like it had been taken care of immensely well. So then Mr. Akins landed. We all ate, had dinner.
Me and Bigby started working on a trade. I'll show little pieces of the trade as we go along.
Yeah, that's cool. So Mr. Akins said he had a book that I wanted, and so we discussed that. We've been discussing this for what, 3-4 months now?
Yeah, a couple months now.
Yeah. So one piece of the trade.
One piece.
Or you can show several pieces.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this section right here since these kind of go together.
Yeah. That makes sense.
We've got an Uncanny X-Men number 121. Ooh, that is some good lighting there. I like that.
Actually, it works out pretty good.
This is in very, very nice shape. I love this one.
So, this book came from Mr. Akins as a gift to me. So you'll see why I traded it back to him in a little.
We trade for a trade, something for something.
Yeah.
This one is a raw, and part of the trade was a slab, and we'll get to that.
The slab that came to me. So he was like, I'd rather get the raw and then get more books rather than hang on to the slab. So there was that. So
something else I've been looking for that was part of the trade.
He was wishing he would be at breakfast this morning.
You wishing he was at breakfast, but he wasn't. But hey, look at that right there. Part 1 of Days of Future Past.
Very nice copy, high grade copy, newsstand.
It is very nice, and like he said, it is a newsstand. That homage cover right there, beautiful. I love it. And yes, I am about to say it. John Byrne.
Did somebody say John Byrne?
Somebody did say John Byrne. I say it all the time.
There you go.
So I got part 1, and I love this cover too.
Yeah.
Part 2 of Days of Future Past.
I think I told you the story. That was like when I was like 12.
Yep.
Somebody's uncle had that, and I was like, I was just starting to get into comics, and I was like, oh, I want that. And he's like, kid, you ain't getting that for less than $8. That's a really good book.
Less than $8. I got this for more than $8.
Did you? Yeah, that's not the guy. I did not get it for. I didn't have $8 back then. I think I had 80 cents maybe.
So all this will go to. This is some John Byrne I didn't have.
Yes.
So this is going toward my goals of collecting as much John Byrne as I possibly can. So
Right.
this is something I'm also missing. So glad, wonderful addition to my collection.
Yes.
I love it.
And then some of the stuff like spoiler, like moving forward,
Spoiler alert.
Goals for him moving forward after finishing his Iron Man run.
Because
So,
I finished my Iron Man run. I think I'm around 32 in reading my Volume 1 run of Iron Man. So now I'm going to start collecting some other runs, and we'll get to that in a moment.
and I forgot one of the very first things I got was actually
Yes.
Dan. Then before we had to sleep on the floor in the airport, Dan handed me this book and told me, that he wanted me to have it, and I wasn't expecting such a wonderful gift from him. It was a big surprise. And I learned something about this, Dan. So if you're watching this video, Dan, this will prove to me that you watched the video, Dan. The Marvel Tales annual is actually Marvel Tales #1. The first 2 issues of Marvel Tales are annuals. So, and then it goes Marvel Tales #3. So there is not a Marvel Tales #1 and Marvel Tales #2. They are both Marvel Tales Annual #1, Marvel Tales Annual #2, and then Marvel Tales #3. So there you go. I didn't know that. I learned something new, and I'm admitting it.
You were correct, Dan.
You were right.
Correct.
We were both right.
Yeah.
So, and then let's see. So, was it that evening that we did that we got gifts from Mike? You want to do
we did.
that?
You want me to? I can do that. I mean,
Or should we finish our trade? No, we did. It was the next evening.
Yeah, it was
the
next
gifts
evening,
from
and
Mike.
we
So
can
we'll
do
finish
this
our
at
trade.
pieces because most of mine that I got at this con was a trade with Bigby.
Right.
I
bankrupted Mr. Akins and he couldn't buy anything.
He bankrupted me in the things that I wanted. Believe me, I got things that I wanted. Do you want to show that one? As part of the trade?
Yeah,
because
sure.
since we went through the X-Men that I got
Yeah,
from him,
so he got that, and this is the one that I got. This is 9.8. Oh, it says it's a 9.8.
Okay, I didn't know if you were going to talk about that controversy or not.
Yeah, there was a little controversy. We don't know. There's a weird, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a weird, looks like almost somebody's finger rubbed the edge of the cover back a little bit here. And there's that little flaw, and there's a couple other little tiny flaws that we're like, man, what? We're not sure. So, and I did not point those out. Mr. Akins was like, hey, I want you to notice these things because it looks a little weird to me.
Full disclosure.
Yeah,
it says 9.8, but there's some
yeah,
issues.
and he's like, if I was to sell this to somebody, I wouldn't feel right selling it to him as a 9.8, and so we negotiated somewhere in between a 9.8 and 9.6 price. So
yes.
So there's that. And
it
then,
says a 9.8 on that blue label, but in our limited quote unquote expert opinion, if we crack that sucker out and send it back in, that would not get a 9.8 nowadays.
Yeah, no I don't
way.
think so. So should I jump to the next day stuff, or do you want to go?
We can jump to anything you want to jump.
All right,
to.
I'm jumping. So
because
the
you
next
want
day,
to talk about
all
this
kinds
lady.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got one of these too, but I don't think you pulled it over here.
No.
But, so we went. Well, actually, first it was Al. Which that'll be later in your stuff.
That's going to be my last book.
That'll be your, yeah. So Mr. Akins had a piece. He wanted to have some art done by Al Milgram, and at the end, I walked away. I was kind of filming and talking to Al while Mr. Akins was getting his stuff set up, and I walked away and I said, "Oh, it's a convention exclusive, Al Milgram exclusive, First Rocket Raccoon," and I was like, "That's really cool." And as I was walking away, Al goes, "Well, then why don't you buy it?" And I was like, "Does it come with an autograph?" And he says, "It does today."
He's not called Convention Al for nothing.
So yeah, so $10, convention exclusive, First Rocket Raccoon, Al Milgram autographed. I couldn't say no, so there you go. So that came in chronologically there, and then we went around. Who we went and got. We talked to Carl Potts.
We talked to Carl Potts.
Who, man, he has some amazing stories of history of Marvel Comics in the bullpen, and just an awesome Awesome dude.
The only thing
So
that may have been
nice.
eclipsed by his stories was some of his artwork that he had there. He
He's-
had some very.
yeah.
After seeing that, I'm thinking I may want some artwork by Mr.
Yeah,
Potts.
I was like, he had a beautiful like sketch cover of Black Panther that he had done. I actually showed it to Mon Comics, and Mon was like, "Oh my god, I wish I had more money left," because he had this piece. He had
The sketch cover.
the sketch cover, and he had a blown up print of it available, and it was like T'Challa, half of his face, and then the other half mask, but it was this intricate design on it, and it was just really cool.
Almost a more intricate design of the Spider-Man thing when it's like Peter Parker on one side and the Spider-Man on the other. But it was way more intricate than the normal straight down the line thing.
And kind of like almost like an homage to Chadwick Boseman too. He did a really good job of capturing like Chadwick Boseman's features on the face part, so it was pretty cool. And then after that, we spotted a really nice lady, Barbara Friedlander, and we talked to her for a little bit. She was a writer and creator for DC during the late 60s, early 70s.
Yes.
And she was one of the first female creators to create a character for DC. She created Scooter, which I don't know if you guys know, kind of an Archie humor book for DC. And she was the nicest lady. We talked to her for a good chunk of time, and sweetest lady. She said she had left DC to get married, have kids, and then she walked away from comics. She totally forgot about it, and then one day
she wondered whether or not anybody remembered her doing anything, and she Googled herself. And once she Googled herself, she's like, well, people do remember the stuff that I did back then, and she's like, maybe I could do conventions.
So she was at the show. She had made some cool merch with her stuff on it, so she has some fashion stuff. She was involved in some fashion design as well. So she had some bags that she gave, one to me and one to Mr. Akins for our wives. So that was super nice of her. And I have a short on Instagram with her, and she'll also be in some of my convention recap footage. So please check that out. And then what happened? I'm losing track of things.
Well, you want me to give you a second to think about it?
You give me a second. You show something.
Part of Big B's trade was also some Avengers comics that I was interested in. He brought some comics, said, hey, I think you may be interested in some of these. Work this into the trade as well. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really interested in these. Avengers number 23. I love that cover right there.
Some good Kirby goodness, right?
It is. It's absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
This is my favorite one as far as the covers go.
First appearance of Renslayer from the Loki series. So if you're familiar with her, TVA Agent Renslayer. So first appearance there in a Kang appearance, big Kang issue.
I had this one as a kid as Marvel Triple Action, and of course, as a kid, I cut this one into pieces.
Yeah, of course.
But I was glad to actually put this actual comic back into my collection as opposed to just having a Marvel Triple Action.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about having this one in here. I remember this one fondly.
Beautiful copy too.
It is a very beautiful copy of this. Another one that I cut up as a kid.
Was it a Marvel Triple Action also?
This was also a Marvel Triple Action. In fact, this may have been one of the first Avengers comics I ever remember reading and picking up. When Hercules joins the team. I think it's John Buscema art inside here.
I think so. And the floating heads, right?
The floating heads. I love the floating heads on this cover. There's a lot of action in this. I remember that's what I loved about it as a kid. Hercules against the Avengers. These Avengers right here, Captain America, Hawkeye, Quicksilver, Wasp, Scarlet Witch, Giant Man. It was a really good issue, and it was a issue where the Enchantress had kind of tricked Hercules into battling the Avengers, and then ended up him joining the team. So this was his official joining the team. I love this issue.
Cool issue. You know, Bronze and Modern Gods would really like that issue. He's a big Hercules fan.
I love Hercules as a character too. He's always been one of my favorite Avengers. If you don't have Thor in there, it's always nice to have another god in there. and I love having Hercules in the team. I always loved having him in the team.
John likes that beefcake art with him. That's his thing. John on Bronze and Wonder. So.
And one other Avengers comic I got from Bigby that I have never read. I've never read Avengers 107. So I know nothing about this one right here.
But it's the Grim Reaper. I mean, we know that much.
It's the Grim Reaper.
But,
preview maybe of what I might be collecting next, runs I'm thinking this is helping with the Avengers. I still haven't made a decision. Bigby was like, whoa, I can see which one of these you're going to be picking, and I know where you're going to go.
But then he didn't pick.
But I didn't pick. I picked some of these. And
some
he's
from
like,
column
ooh.
A and some from column B.
Exactly. So still haven't committed fully to which run I'm going to go after next. But Avengers will be one day.
And you guys are probably wondering, wouldn't it be Captain Marvel? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Somebody's
talking.
The watch is listening.
Loves to pick up my voice and start talking.
Here's what I found.
Well, here's what I found. Right here. Avengers number 107 out of Bigby's pile. And I said, I'd like to have that one as well.
With art by Rich Buckler.
Yeah. And Rich Buckler was here at the...
Oh, really?
He was.
We got an autograph.
Well, I thought about, once we get to my final piece.
He might be one of the people who
I'm really now interested in collecting original art.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've got the taste for it, that's like my thing when I go to a con. Yes.
I think the way that you're collecting it is super cool too.
Yes. And so, yes, I may be looking for some pieces, some comics, but I'm really now interested in getting some more art from some of these artists that I love.
That's the fine line of trying to appreciate new talent, new artists, new creators, and collecting vintage stuff. And I could see Dan at one point was being pitched a book by a new creator, and I could see he's like, I appreciate what this guy's doing, but I just collect vintage stuff. And it's like, it's hard to appreciate and collect everything. That's all I'm trying to say. So
you talking about?
I'm talking about that guy. If you want to talk about it, you want to talk about it.
I want to make sure. What do you think? I want to make sure I pronounce his name right. Is that Thayer?
Thayer, yeah.
Paul
Thayer.
Paul Thayer. So Paul had a booth. I can't wait because he had a little
elevator pitch.
He had a beautiful elevator pitch for this comic.
I recorded it. It'll be in the recap of the convention footage. But he has a great elevator pitch for his book. The artwork is beautiful. The storyline sounds really cool.
And I'm interested in really reading this. Like you said, it was a good pitch. Not only did he pitch it to me, he pitched it to you. I think Lunch Money
recorded it. Yeah, I promised the guy I would bring back my friends and introduce them to him, and Mike was psyched. He was like, "This is really cool."
This is really cool, and I think Mike did a very good job of talking him up, and probably had a really good video. Yeah. So I'm really interested in reading this one. And like Bigby said, there were a lot of independent, self-published artists and writers there, and so they had some really, really interesting stuff. I love, like you said, that was the mix. You had the newer guys that were producing their own stuff and selling it there, and then you had the old guard where you can go and get them.
Yeah, and it was so interesting too. Like, we started looking for certain books later on, and it was like you didn't notice them at all, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, we're looking for this, this, and this, and it was like, it's at every single book.
Yes.
Or we're looking for this, and you never saw it except for once. Speaking of never saw it except for once, so this was from Mike's friends, and I'm going to forget their names. There was Josh and Joel. Yes. And so these are the first things I picked up at their booth. I'm a big fan of the early independent stuff. So this is Fantasy Quarterly #1, first appearance of ElfQuest by Wendy and Richard Pinney. If you guys have not seen the video on YouTube, there's a video entitled These Two Were Rejected by Marvel and DC and instead chose to go their own path and change the course of comics history forever. Watch that video. It is amazing. It talks about Wendy and Richard Pini and how they open the doors for independent creators to make books themselves. So amazing video. I think it's maybe like it's like a mini documentary. It's really cool. Great convention footage going all the way back into like the late 60s, 70s. Wendy used to dress up as Red Sonja.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really cool. And then actually, I guess they're gonna finally make a movie at the very end of the documentary. They're gonna make a movie.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So, because all the way through the documentary, they're like, "Oh, what we really want is a faithful movie adaptation." And so, and this one, I got these two. So they had this one marked at $275.
Look at all these slabs Bigby's getting.
I don't collect slabs.
I know.
They're all
slabs. They're all
slabs.
slabs. All these slabs you're getting.
But I couldn't resist some of it. Some of the crazy prices. Okay, so Star Slayer #2. I'm like, all right, this is first appearance of Rocketeer in a 9.6, right? Dave Stevens, okay, in a 9.6. First Rocketeer. There he is.
Yeah, there
Rocketeer.
it is.
They had $100 on it. First Rocketeer.
No.
Dude.
This one and one other. I was so surprised at the what you got it for.
Right.
Like this one, I'm like, wow, $100.
Yeah.
If he hadn't have picked it up, I would have picked it up. I was like,
yeah.
okay,
Well, we saw
$100.
some raws were like raw high grades for like 30, 35.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like amazed at like just it's a really cool book. But yeah, so 9.6. So for the pair, I paid $300. Starts for first Rocketeer and ElfQuest, first ElfQuest in an 8.0. I was like, wow,
Yes.
Insane, mind blown. All right, so over to you, because my next thing is going to be the evening things that Mike gave us.
Well, a gift from Big B. Primarily because I used to do a segment on my channel, the 5 ages. I would show a golden age, a silver age, a bronze age, a copper age, and a modern age comic.
I really enjoyed those.
And I kind of moved away from it because I didn't really have golden age comics. I was like, I really don't feel right doing this when I'm showing reprints of the golden age stuff. So Big B brought me some golden age stuff so I can start back that segment.
And hopefully I can feed him a few more every once in a while.
A few more every once in a while. And these are really cool. I like every single one of these that he's given me.
This one might be like very late golden age, early silver, this top one, but the other ones are golden.
Believe me, I'm going to check and make sure, because if I make the video, the comment section will tell me immediately whether or not this really was a golden age or
You
not.
can go, Big B.
So we've got a Woody Woodpecker's Back to School Dell. This is a 25 center, but how many pages is in this?
It's huge.
It's huge. This has got to be 100 pages.
It's because this is right as the comic code started, because we were talking about the corner down there.
You want to talk
Yeah,
about the corner?
Yeah, it says important. Dell's promise to parents. Dell comics are good comics. So they did not adapt the Comics Code Authority because they felt that by adapting it, they were calling into question the moral, ethical wholesomeness of their comics. So they didn't adopt the Comics Code Authority. They just said Dell comics are good comics. And then for a long time, when they printed on the top and bottom of the pages, it would say Dell comics are good comics. So there you go.
Tweety and Sylvester. What number is this?
He's not going to give you a number except on the inside.
And that's what I was about to say, because I've got some peanut Dells.
It might say on the back.
And it says number 10, 1955.
There you go. 1955. It's got a little spine damage, but I was like, golden age books.
Golden age book. A golden age book is a golden age book. This is Walt Disney Comics. This is number 162. This is also a Dell comic.
Yeah. And that might be Barks, I'm not sure. But
a Looney Tunes 10 center. This is a 52-page magazine. This is number 137, 1953. Let's see if I can get that glare off.
He's sweeping all the garbage down on Elmer Fudd in the manhole cover.
Yeah, he's cleaning up after the con.
There you go.
And another
Woody
Woodpecker, but it says Walter Lanzick, New Comics.
Walter Lance, New Funnies.
Mm-hmm. This is a 10 center.
Mm-hmm.
That one looks good. The colors are really nice on these.
So they're bringing the books. I don't know if you realize what's going on. They're bringing the books. He thinks they're studying, but they're trying to stack them up so they can reach the cookies.
Exactly. So this will allow me to do that segment again where I show a Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Copper Age, and Modern comic. So
yeah, I really enjoyed that segment. I thought was super cool that you did, and I was bummed to see it go away.
So this is 5 more videos that are going to be sometime in the future.
There you go, and then we'll make sure we feed you some more Golden Age
every once in a while. Give me some more Golden Age.
Find like a junk shop where you can find some Golden Age.
Some real easy, nice Golden Age.
Or maybe you come out to visit, and I can take you to the Golden Age honey hole, and you can pick up your own $5 Golden Age books.
My own $5 goodness, or five Golden Age comics.
Right. There you go. So that evening, or so the next evening, or the evening after, this is day 2, right? Mm-hmm. We had a little get together, and we all went up to, it was Colossus's room? Colossus?
No, we didn't go to. This was Mike's room.
Was it Mike's room? Okay, we went up to Mike's room. That's right, because he had them special beers in his fridge.
All the way from New England.
By the way, guys, I don't drink, but some other people tried and enjoyed and consumed
he wanted
a fairly
everybody,
large amount of beer.
Yeah, he wanted to try. He wanted people to try what he considered
good beer.
The good beer that he liked.
So this evening, Mike made me cry. So he had showed these on a video that he had picked up, and I had messaged him and said, "Oh, those are so cool," and I never followed up with him, and so he actually this one came from you, but I swapped you an Avengers for it.
Yes, we started trading. We got books together and we started trading.
So. But anyways, this goes right along with it. So they're Pence copies of X-Men issues, and so we got that one, and that one.
Did somebody say John Byrne?
Yeah, somebody did say John Byrne. And someone said John Byrne again.
I'll say John Byrne again.
That's right. Burn again.
You're getting burned. You're getting burned.
And then we're out of the burn segment. Out of the burn ward. Arcade murder world action.
Murder world action.
And Rogue Storm. So very cool. Pence copies. I was like, really? And so Mike took me aside and he was like, somebody tried to stop that, made a toast and said that they were trying to give Mike credit for bringing everybody together. And Mike stopped him and he said, wait, no. He said, we wouldn't be here. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything. I don't want it to sound that way. But he's like, we wouldn't be here if Bigby didn't like kind of bring us all together on live streams and everything. And I just started bawling my head off. So
I mean, bringing everybody in by live streams, doing the shout out, doing the comic book shout out. So all those things did bring us all together.
I just felt very honored that he said that, and that I love all those guys, and
they're amazing. All like of them are amazing.
Brothers to me. So it's just this whole. I'm really gonna cry. This whole weekend has been great. So anyway, Mike gives me that, and then he goes, Mr. Akins, close your eyes.
Close your eyes. I mean, he did. He did. I want to talk about this one. He did give me this one, and JP got this. Mm-hmm. And he got everybody to sign this one.
But it wasn't that cover. He actually got the Illuminati cover. The Illuminati cover.
Not this one.
Not that one. The one with all of them sitting, looking up at the camera.
Okay, he got that one. I forgot about that.
That's right.
But he gave me this one. But that's not what was so.
So he says, Mr. Akins, close your eyes.
I've got to get this one set up. So if you've ever watched my channel, and you've watched Ricky at All Sorts of Words. Ricky did a wrestling challenge where he had 2 YouTubers compete against each other, showing comics. He gave the prompts, and you were supposed to be in character. Well, I came up with the character called The Rack. Mm-hmm. And apparently, Mike really enjoys watching my segment
anytime
on there.
He feels down.
Anytime he feels down and he needs to get pumped up by The Rack.
That's right.
He watches that. And
you guys are not going to believe this.
He says it brings me joy,
Mm-hmm.
and like Bigby was saying, that fills my heart when somebody says, "Hey, I'm bringing them joy." That was amazing. So he said, because of that, I had to come up with something extremely special to give you. This is not a comic, but he has given me my very own action figure of the Rack. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, with his own comic there, Avengers Annual 10. Now, if you don't want the Avengers Annual 10, you can always go with the Eternals 9.8 that was also featured in that segment. So if you don't know what we're talking about, you need to go to Ricky at All Sorts of Words. Look for his wrestling challenge. You will see me dressed up as this guy right here with the robe and the mask. The robe was created by his wife.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she made this, and then
he hand
painted this. Now, if you've watched Mike, and I know you have, you know that he is also a D&D fan. So he has painted miniatures at some point in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he said. He said, I love painting miniatures, and so I got the inspiration to paint this head on this action figure to look just like Mr. Akins as the Rack.
Yes.
This is the most amazing thing. I think one of the most amazing things
I was
I've ever
blown away when he showed it to me, and he's like, "You can't tell anybody. I got to share it with somebody." And I was like, "It's so cool."
This is going to bring me as much joy as I hope that my character brought Mike.
Oh,
I can now look at this.
Brought everybody joy, man.
I can look at this and now go, this is the craziest thing ever. There are people out there that have their own action figures.
Right.
I'm now one of that select.
But that's a one of one.
This is a one of one. This is absolutely amazing. It will be featured multiple times on my channel. I plan on using him.
I would assume he'd be back there with the statues, like as you're showing books, right?
Well, he may be just front and center
right.
with me talking in the background.
Maybe he's introing the video, you're kind of moving him up and down. Talking.
Exactly. I don't have to put on the robe. I don't have to put on the mask.
Just the figure.
I can just use now the voice and have him on camera. So I'm thinking of all sorts of ways I can use this guy. Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
It is absolutely, utterly
stunning.
Amazing.
Yes.
And I was blown away. I can't thank you enough for this. This is amazing. I love it.
So cool.
Love it.
So
I
cool.
absolutely love it.
I'm blown away with that.
I think I won the award for the best gift.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love it.
It is pretty darn cool. Yes, I love it.
I love the accessories. Like any other action figure, you've got to have accessories.
That's right. Like and Bruce, he was picking up toys this weekend too. So Bruce will tell you, if you don't have the accessories, it really drops the value.
It does drop the value. That's what we learned real quick. If you don't have the accessories,
Scareglow, right?
Scareglow, cornrows.
Scareglow.
I don't know what the guy's name was.
No, it was Scareglow. Him and Ricky found one at a toy store, and then he found a complete one here, and he was blown away. So he bought the complete one and the other one. I was going to sell the other one, but yeah. So Bruce, big fan of toys. Shout out to Bruce up North Comics.
Shout out to Mike, Lunch Money Comics.
Shout out to everybody.
Shout out to everybody.
Collector, Ricky, All Sorts of Word, Dan's X-Men Comics, JP and Rohan.
The Salt and the Pepper.
The Salt and Pepper. Absolute Game of Nerds. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody. Gosh. Well, anyway, all of our big group of friends. If you've been watching I feel like I'm forgetting something. Anyway, if you've been watching on Instagram, we've been doing all kinds of posts. So are we moving on? Next day breakfast, right? Next day breakfast with Walt Simonson. First, number one.
I mean,
so we get there, we get down, and everybody's already eating breakfast with Walt Simonson.
Yes, everybody's already eating breakfast with Walt Simonson when we get down there.
Right.
Well, the ones that had gotten down there early.
Yeah.
And got at that table. There were two people at the other table that couldn't get there.
Right.
Couldn't fit at the table with Walt Simonson.
Right. So
it's like breakfast with Walt.
Part one.
Part one.
So what was kind of cool just to be, we're all snapping pictures over our shoulder and stuff. But it was cool to hang with Walt. And as we're sitting there at breakfast, Ricky says, "Hey, I brought this whole short box of comics, and it's all full of Silver Age and Bronze Age keys, and I just don't want to take the time to go sell it. He's like, I booked it out. It's like $700+ worth of at low book, $700+ of keys. Anybody that wants it can come get it for $300 out of my room. And I gotta go look. And he's like, you can cherry pick it if you want, or you can just take the whole box for $300. So we went up there, we took a look, and I started cherry picking it. And then I was just like, this is dumb. I'll just take the whole box for $300. He had another stack on his nightstand. He said you could pick some stuff out of the stack.
Yeah.
So Mr. Akins picked a couple, and then after I bought the box, he said, "Please just take everything off that nightstand and throw it in the box and take it out of here. I don't want to have to.
I don't even want to have to deal with it." That was the thing. He really didn't want to deal with it anymore. He was like, he was going to use, and he did still have others to give as
his giveaways. Yeah.
If you recognize Ricky.
And some people, definitely got giveaways.
It got giveaways. So if you're at a comic book convention and you see Ricky at All Sorts of Words, you go up to him because that's what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to interact and he wants to talk to you.
Yeah, he definitely does. He said a lot of people will be like, what was it, the guy with his wife?
Yeah.
He's like, I know you. He couldn't actually speak to him. He didn't want to talk to him with his wife. So it was pretty funny. And then what he said, whole family came up to him and said, we all watch your videos together on the couch. And he was like, could you watch them separately on your phone? But
But come up not only to Ricky, but any of us. We'll
give you some swag, some stickers. We definitely all had stickers. Hashtag sticker people for life.
But Ricky still had some stuff to give away. So Bigby we didn't take all his stuff.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
He said, I got a stack of stuff that
he said, but that stuff, he said, please take it and get rid of it.
So I took 2 out of that stack.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing Ricky, I had to pick up, since he had a Vampirella in that stack. I'm like, well, I'll know forever where I got this Vampirella from.
Mm-hmm.
I got it from Ricky at All Sorts of Words.
Very cool.
And I was looking through that box, and I came across this. All the things that were in there, and this was just free giveaway stuff. I'm like, well, I want that Neil Adams right there.
Yeah, that's an amazing book right there.
It is. I love the
art. It's just Ricky. Ricky's trying, and if you guys don't know, Ricky's trying to downsize and make room in his area for more stuff. And so getting rid of things that didn't mean as much to him or didn't fit the motif of the things he's collecting right now.
And this, I think he felt like it would give him more joy to give this as a giveaway to somebody he met at the convention than him actually keeping it in a box there.
So then we were faced with the conundrum: what do we do with this box?
Yes.
So we're like, how are we going to get it back? Because I'm going back to Portland, Oregon tomorrow. How am I going to get it back there? And Mr. Akins is like, well, I could put it in my suitcase.
Yeah, I could put it in the suitcase, but I think it would be better to do it as a carry-on. I said I could put all my other stuff in the suitcase, and I'll just do this as a carry-on. We'll tape it up, and I'll just put it in the overhead and do it that way.
And then Mike, he's coming out to visit Portland in a couple of weeks, and he's like, well, I'll just take care of it for you. And we brought it back to the room, and the more I thought about it, I was like, let's just deal with this.
Well, I think we had remembered seeing more than one vendor have the sign out there, "We'll buy comics for cash," or "Call this number and we'll give you cash."
Comics for trade.
Comics for trade and stuff.
And I'd seen a few people doing some trades. Oh, I saw JP doing some trades earlier. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, let's try this. So we took the books down to a vendor that I saw JP doing some deals with. And lo and behold, we went to one vendor first. Mm-hmm. And he went through and he's like, I'm interested in these 5. These are the biggest keys that I think are the most important in this box. And I'll give you $100. And I was like, nah. So I put those in my bag. And then we took the rest of the box over to Mike's friends, Josh and Joel. And took them to Joel first, and he started looking through, and he says, I don't know my DC keys. What do you think it's worth? And he made me an offer, and I was like, he's like, I don't know, so it's going to be insulting, I'm sure. And he made me an offer, and it was not in it was not in the arena. And so he said, well, then what do you think? And I told him my counter offer, and he said, let me have somebody else take a look at it. And they looked at it, and he said, what do you think? And this is what he's asking for. And they said, yeah, that's reasonable. So he said, okay, well, then let's do, he's like, I'm afraid of what you're going to take.
Well, he was looking at cash, and you said, well, if you don't want all cash, can I do some cash and trade?
Right. Trade? This is all art of the negotiation, guys. I'm like, hey, I can do some cash, some trade. And he's like, okay. And he's like, I'm afraid of what you're going to take. And I said, I'll give you first right of refusal on anything that I pick. You can say, no, you can't have that. And he's like, okay, I'm okay with that. Which, I'm taking a risk there. Well, if the things don't work out, I could just walk away, right? And so I started picking some things out. And then I said, oh, and by the way, I have these 5 in my bag that I had set aside. And he was like, oh, okay, I know these are big. And so he picked out a couple and he was like, I'll just give you cash for this. And then his buddy came over and he's like, well, I want that. I'll give you some cash for this. As I'm looking at things,
He was making sales right then, wasn't he?
Yeah. And I wasn't even really tabulating how much. They were just like, here's 40, here's 30, here's 20, and I'm just like doing my thing. Because I think I told you, like, I think I got about $70 cash, and then later on, I'm like, I've got well over $100. Where did all this money come from? So yeah,
so got some cash.
We got some cash.
Got these books right here.
Yeah, so we got some books. That's the whole point of this long drawn out story. So first book is the variant cover for the first appearance of the Winter Soldier. Nice grade copy of that, and raw, but a nice copy out. And that's if I was gonna, I mean, I wouldn't mind having the other cover, but this is the one with, it has him on the cover. So first appearance of the Winter Soldier.
I think you may also see a motif here as you show these.
There is kind of a little bit of a motif. Is there a motif?
Well, we're going to find out. Let's see what the next one is.
Well, there's the first appearance of the Falcon. And we got a really good deal on this. I was under the impression this book had really come down. And so they had a price marked on it, and I was like, I think you're a little high on that book.
And somebody else was there.
And somebody else corroborated it and said, yeah, he's pretty high on that book. And so they came down on it, and so I got this book, first variant Winter Soldier, and then
Falcon on that.
Or first Falcon. This is the first appearance of Sam Wilson, the Falcon. So pick that up. A fairly nice condition copy. Not as nice as some that we saw, but they wanted a lot more money for those later. It was one of those things where we said you don't realize how many copies of it's the yellow Volkswagen.
It's the yellow Volkswagen. I have people, we call the game Skittles. Mm-hmm. When you see a yellow vehicle, you scream out Skittles, and you tabulate it when you're in the car. And until we started doing that, I'm like, there's yellow vehicles all over the place. Before, didn't know that there were that many yellow vehicles.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah, because after I got this, you were like, I might want to get one of those. And we started looking around, they were everywhere. But they were much higher priced, which we were like, and people kind of said that people priced them up when the boom happened, and they still haven't brought their stuff down. They're trying to use that as wiggle room. But so the last book that I got was a big one. It's Foom number 2 in a pretty decent grade. It's got a little wrinkle down here that could be pressed out. But this, if you don't know, is the first appearance of the prototype version for Wolverine. Kind of a big deal, I guess. And so we got that. And that is the biggest key. It was between all these and an autographed 9.6 first appearance of Deadpool. I think I went with the older books that I wanted, even though I have a lower grade first Deadpool, but I went with the old stuff. You guys let me know in the comments what you would have picked, but and then the cash. So,
but that's a beautiful cover. I love that cover. This and like you said, you didn't have one of these. You had one of the other. Yeah,
this is an amazing cover, and like there's a lot. Not that I don't love Deadpool, but there's a lot of copies of that book out there. So,
there are. And like as some of the other YouTubers will say, the supply is getting more and more and more as people put that thing in.
Right.
I don't see it as going up any more than it is now. How much more hype can you have on a Deadpool comic first appearance?
Right. I mean, it's not necessarily like, it's probably not like the best time to be picking one up right now either, with the hype of the movie and stuff. Or the price is probably way up there. So, I will stop here and let you do some more.
Well,
of your
tell him. Stuff. Do you want to tell the end of the story about the books? Did the dealer? Was it a good deal for him?
Oh, so we went back to the dealer today, and he said he'd already almost made his money back, and he still had almost 2/3 of the box left to go. So so good deal for the dealer, good deal for Ricky, good deal for us. So
Big B did not want to lug that short box around. I don't know. I don't know if it was the weight or the fact that it was in a My Little Pony short box. I didn't know which one, but he was like, "Well, Mr. Akins, can you carry this around for me?" I was like, "Well, yeah." Well, are you gonna give me something? I have a
bad hip, guys. You guys don't know that, but I have a bad hip.
So for me, carrying it around.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I did kick him down a book for carrying it around.
He said, "I'm going to kick this in right here." This beautiful copy of the Frankenstein monster. First meetup of Dracula and Frankenstein.
And it's
gorgeous.
It is
beautiful. It's gorgeous. This is a very, very nice copy.
Yeah, I love that cover. It was a beautiful book. I actually found that for a really good deal.
Just in time for Halloween. This will be put over there to the side for
your Halloween covers?
For Mon Comics
Halloween
special. He has every Halloween. So
so that's a beautiful book. But he had to pay for it with we were in the elevator and he's going down. He's carrying sweat and embarrassment because we're going down the elevator and he's carrying this My Little Pony box and this guy totally took it. I'm like, yeah, he's really happy. He just added to his My Little Pony collection. And the guy's like, oh, congratulations. And Mr. Akins is like,
I think what was even better is when we first went in and you have to go through security. And so you have to open your bags or any boxes you had.
Yep.
So I set the box down and there was a nice lady on the other side of the table. And she goes, ooh, My Little Pony. Can I see one of them? I'm like, there are no My Little Ponies in here. I'm sorry.
It was a box we got from Ricky.
She's like, you could see the look of disappointment. She's like, well, I wanted to see some My Little Pony.
Which actually the dealer said he actually even sold the box. He had a $10 offer on that box just for the box. So he sold the box.
Well, that's what Ricky was saying. He was saying that he had gotten that box. And he says as soon as they put those in stock, he says they get sold immediately.
Yeah, the guy, Ricky was like, oh, did you overorder? Because they had a whole wall. And the guy's like, this is my third wall, and I'm going to be out by the end of tomorrow, and then I'll have to order more. And Ricky was like, nah, you're full of it. And he came back the next day, and they were all gone. So
there's a run on My Little Pony.
I guess.
Short
the
boxes.
Bronies are out there. The Bronies are real. All right.
You want me to keep going? Or you want to show some?
We can show. Okay, so I will talk a little bit about. So, Bronze Age Nerd asked me to. You guys don't know, he's my cohort in crime on Monday nights.
What's the show? Best Coast Comics?
Best Coast Comics. Well, we say the coast goes all the way around.
Okay.
So it's all one coast. But it's supposed to be kind of like a play on. You guys are all asleep over on the East Coast when we start broadcasting. So, but yeah, so Best Coast Comics. But we do a fundraiser for Heroes, which supports Mission 22, which prevents veteran suicide. And so Bronze had asked me to talk to artists and creators and see if they'd be willing to donate. And I'm going to forget. It's on the cover. He says his name. Okay, I won't forget. Artists, creators, ask them if they'd be willing to donate or come on and do a sketch or, whatever they want to do to help promote. And so all kinds of, can't believe the generosity. Bronze was a little shocked. He's like, you hit the ground running. Because I could have started sending him text after text or message after message. Contact this person, this is the email address and whatnot. There was the wonderful Star Trek actress, I'm going to forget her name. She says her last name was Check Your Car Keys. That was how she told me to pronounce her last name.
She's in the new Picard.
Yes, she plays the bald alien lady. Mm-hmm. She's wonderful. But she was so nice, and she actually knew before I even finished saying the word Mission 22. She said Mission 22. Mm-hmm. I'm in. So
if you see her at a con, go and talk to her. Like he says, nice. She is a wonderful person to talk to.
Yeah, she was super, super nice.
Yes.
So shout out Jackie Car Keys. But I actually got some books donated. So Eric O'Connor and his friend Just Matt. I'm like, he's like, I'm the creator, the writer, blah, 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 blah. And I said, and you are? And he says, I'm just Matt. And I'm like, is that what it says on your business card? Is just Matt? And he's like, it's going to be what it says from now on. So Eric and Just Matt, they donated their book, Euphoria, which is pretty darn cool. They gave the pitch for this story about a serial killer in 1989 in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, something outside Atlanta, Georgia. But he also meets.
He's being stalked by another
another
serial
serial
killer
killer.
who claims to be responsible for a lot of things,
And there is a twist at the end.
all
of
kinds
the
of
book.
twists.
Yeah.
There's twists all
There's
throughout.
twists all throughout, and then there's a big reveal down there at the end. About
Yeah,
what's
well,
really
it's what's
going
gonna.
on.
There's even this is only the first issue, so there's gonna be a big reveal at the end of the whole series. So, but they were kind enough. Eric was kind enough to sign this copy, so this is gonna be up for auction on the.
Their whole setup was really cool, and it showed. We kind of looked through the book, and it's a red,
red, white, and
black,
black, yeah.
white motif in there.
And you get a sticker too.
Yes, it looked really intriguing, and their whole setup was set up that way. They were dressed in red, black, and white. It looked their setup was very nice.
And then the cool guys from SHP Comic,
Yes.
or fellow from SHP Comic, Dean. I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. I'm going to say S. Cope. He had a whole series of books, which you'll see recapped in my convention recap videos that are going to be starting to come out, I think, in the next few months through Diamond. But one that looked really cool to me is a sci-fi humor horror book called Aerotech. And so Dean was kind enough to sign. These aren't damaged. This is actually the artwork,
the way it looks
for it. And so that's going to be coming out from them. And this is issue number 1. And he was kind enough to sign it down here in the corner. Yeah, Mr. Aiken said he was trying to fold the fold back over.
I pulled it out of the bag, and I'm like, oh, that's part of the artwork.
Yeah, it's the artwork. So very cool. Comedy, sci-fi, horror thing. And then this is a the promo poster that he had for this had Jimi Hendrix on it. It was so cool.
Yes, that's what drew us to his spot, was that picture of
Mm-hmm.
Jimi Hendrix. I was like, this is amazing.
It's a vampire horror book that takes place during Woodstock.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so he was kind enough to sign it down here and give us this is, I believe, a trade paperback of the first few issues. So it's called Woodstake instead of Woodstock. And there are going to be a couple series. This takes place in the first Woodstock, and then the second series is going to take place in the second Woodstock. Mm-hmm. So that they were able to give us some signed copies of those for donations, and that was very, very generous of them for the Heroes for Heroes Mission 22 fundraiser. So those are those things, and then I'm going to go back to you.
One other part of gift trade that we did is something that I feel is going to help complete my volume 1 run of Iron Man.
We should have been looking for those annuals today.
We should have. Those are. I got distracted by this. This happens to be. Let's go ahead and shout out somebody else. Rohan of Absolute Game of Nerds. He likes this cover more than Iron Man #1.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that.
My personal opinion, I like Iron Man #1 better. This is an amazing cover. This is the one-shot Iron Man Submariner before the big premiere issue of each one of these characters, before the Submariner and before the Iron Man. This one is that one-shot that came out.
It kind of gives you a hint at one of the other titles that he might be going after.
A little hint. This is a beautiful copy as well.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to add this to my collection and read this story. I've never read this story. I've read Tales of Suspense #99. I've got Iron Man #1, read that. Read Submariner #1, but I've never read this one shot right here that connects all that together.
Right. And somebody was kind enough to help organizational wise with a grease pencil. They wrote, it's Iron Man half.
It's
over Iron Man's face, but it's just grease pencil. I think if you really wanted to, you could take it to a cleaner presser person, like maybe like Jeff from Comics.
Exactly, the master that works dark magic to make
right. But it's still it's a beautiful copy of it nonetheless.
It is.
So.
Other than that, I mean, there's nothing.
Nary a flaw.
Near a flaw in this, other than somebody wrote a half on Iron Man's face. That's it.
Well, that's all. They just wrote on Iron Man's face.
It's a half.
But no, cool book though.
Thank you, Big B, for everything in the trade.
Thank you for not helping with. Dude, he got the room, and I wouldn't have been able to make it here probably for half the things that Mr. Akins did. And then also, like, I wouldn't have been able to get half the books I did, but we made the deal, and part of the deal was Mr. Akins said, I'll cover some food for you so you can spend more money on comics. So, shh, don't tell my wife. So there was that. So I'm moving over, or are you moving? Oh, you want to go to that one?
I got two things left here.
Okay, you got two
big
things left.
My
I've
big
got
things.
like the things from today left. I've got 4 things. I'll just finish off mine and then you can do yours because yours are
Do you want
yours
to
are
do two
bigger.
and then?
Nah, yours are bigger. Let's do mine and then we'll do yours.
Okay.
So these people were super, super, super cool. These are the people who run Heroes Con. They had a Heroes Con booth and our Heroes World booth, but they're the people who put on Heroes Con, and they were super nice. They very welcoming to our group and the idea of having us come visit Heroes Con. So they might be doing some special things to help us get down there next year. So we look forward to that. But I picked up a really nice copy of NYX #3, first appearance of Laura Kinney, also known as X-23. I asked them how much it was, and they pulled it off the wall, and it was $300. And then I said, "Is there any wiggle room?" And they said they could go down to $220. And then I looked it up, and I was like, "That's 1/3 of the value of this book." And so I bought it. So yeah, I'm excited to have this book. It's been one that's been on my radar and want list for quite a while. So super stoked to pick it up in a really decent grade for a very great price.
Heroes Con.
Heroes Con. We're gonna keep pounding on that.
A con suggested by Walt Simonson himself.
Oh,
It's one of
yes.
the cons to go
Oh,
to.
did we forget to talk about that?
No,
Breakfast. That happened before this.
Breakfast. But we can talk about that. That's what I'm saying. We've
Okay.
got plenty to talk about.
All right. So yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk about breakfast after this. But breakfast did happen with Walt Simonson a second time, and this time we all sat at a big giant table and we all got to hang out with him. So this is a book a long time ago, not a long time, in the last couple of years I've been telling everybody it's super underrated, and I didn't heed my own advice and pick up a copy. And so I was like, oh, it's still going to be reasonable. And I started looking around, and everybody had it for $300 and $400 and $500.
Yes.
Mr. Akins and I are like,
wow.
What happened? When did I miss this?
When did this stop being a $50 book?
Yeah, when did this start? And so I swung by, and this is one of the ones where we're like, hey, do you have a Strange Tales 135? Oh, yeah, there it is. And everybody had them, but they were super high priced. Well, I stopped by a booth and I said, do you have a Strange Tales 135? And the guy goes, yeah, I got 65 on it. I do 40.
40. You're like, what?
So, yeah, so this is part of my collection now.
$40, yes.
$40. This, if you don't know, is the first appearance of the organization known as S.H.I.E.L.D. Kind of important in the MCU. Kind of.
Another motif, going with that motif of MCU characters. Falcon, Winter Soldier, S.H.I.E.L.D.
S.H.I.E.L.D. And then ElfQuest and Rocketeer. I don't know. Yeah, but there's a motif. I mean,
there was a kind of an underlying thread for some of them.
Oh, in Vision, and yeah, there's definitely and then this last one. I'll make that one last so that we can go motif again.
Speaking of the
MCU motif. This story was kind of funny. This fella had this book on the wall, and we were talking to him. Very nice guy, and he said, "What did he say?" I said he had it at 35. I said, "Would you take 25?" And he says, "Nope, I'm firm on 35." And I'm like, "Okay, it's day 3 of the con. Book's been on your wall the whole day."
It's been longer on his wall. How long was it on his wall?
And I said, "Well, I might circle back, but it might be gone." And as we're walking away, he says, "I doubt it. It's been on my wall for the last 5 years." And I said, "It's been on your wall for 5 years, and I offered you $25, and you said no." And I said, "I'll offer you 30. I don't know if I'm going to make it back before the show's over." And he said, "You're right. It has been on my wall for the last 5 years. You can have it for 30. So really nice high grade copy of the first appearance of Rhodey, if you don't know, who's kind of an important character who becomes War Machine. And Mr. Akins is going to have a video about some stuff that kind of talks about
Eddie March.
Eddie March.
And
So look for a video about Eddie March because it's kind of tied into Rhodey. Kind of important information. And
if you know, you know. If you're really down with your Iron Man, then you know who Eddie March is. If you don't, there may be some surprises about who Eddie March is.
Right, but don't spoil it to Mr. Akins because he hasn't finished reading the storyline yet. He's like, I don't know what happens to Eddie March, but he's really important, and I'm going to talk about him in the video.
Yes.
So, okay, and then the last thing, we're out in the hallway, and I'm walking by, and I like my good girl art, and we're looking, and there's some really cool historic books in a display case. Yeah. They had the first ElfQuest. They had a lot of the first Matt Wagner stuff for Grendel, a lot of Turtle stuff, not for sale, just as historical. Yeah, first Vampirella. And every day this guy would change up the display case for historical rarities and stuff. And so I was walking by his booth and I was like, oh, that's cool. If you guys have been watching the shorts on my video, I've done a series of all of the covers for Lois Lane, and there was one that I looked at and God, this cover is beautiful, and it's such amazing good girl art. I don't care about the Superman on the cover of this. It's Lois Lane number 11, and it's just a beautiful high-grade copy of this.
It is a very high-grade copy.
And I just love the beautiful artwork. It reminds me of like almost Dave Stevens-esque artwork of her running there, and I was just like, just a great cover, and I wanted to have it, but I was like, it's a total cover buy. You can cover up Superman, I don't care. I like the way that the Jungle Girl motif here on the cover, and the guy had it, and I was like, how much? And he said, I got $55 on it.
He had two of them.
He was like, well, I have two, yeah.
That's the reason. He said one was $60 and this one was $55.
And the other one was the $60 one. He's like, they were priced at different times. I don't know what's what. And he pulled it down. The $60 one was a 6.0, nowhere near the copy that this is. And this one was $55. And I looked at it and I said,
he said, well, since I got two of them.
Yeah. He's like, I'd be willing to deal on it. And I said, okay, would you take 40? He said, sure. And I was like,
okay.
I was like, I'd be dumb not to buy it for $40. This is a beautiful book for $40. And I should also tell you that in between all this, I kept telling Mr. Akins, like, tell me to stop buying things. Don't let me buy anything else. Don't let me buy anything else. And I just kept buying things. So
he kept buying things.
I stopped at some point. I did stop. So, and I didn't overstep. I really didn't overstep my budget, but I was just trying to be. There's some other big books that I'm trying to save up for that are coming up in the future that'll hopefully come to pass. And so I just was trying to save money and not spend all of my money at the show, but I spent a fair bit of it. So there is that. And then you have a couple more books. And then we've got some like ephemera that we're going to talk about. Yeah. And then we'll wrap things up. So
I've got two more books.
Two big boys.
The big boys. The big part of the trade with Bigby.
I was eating this book all weekend.
You were eating on this book all weekend.
Like a bug. I was eating this book all weekend.
I'm still undecided. Am I going to go for an Avengers run? I finished my Iron Man. Am I going to do a Cap run? Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of those. I've got a lot of Avengers.
I tried to give him a reason to finish this run.
This run right here. Since I finished Iron Man run, maybe I need to work on this right here. We've got Tales of Suspense 40. Second appearance of Iron Man.
First appearance of
the golden armor. Mark II armor there. This is a beautiful, beautiful copy. I'm so excited to get this one in my collection. So
I'm excited for you to have it.
This may be, maybe I need to focus on this Tales of Suspense. Maybe I need to wait.
Well, that series features your two favorite characters.
It's my two favorite characters. Right now it's just got Iron Man in it. At what point does it switch around to both a two-parter? I forget which issue it is. There's one issue that has a acrobat that's pretending to be Captain America, and then the next issue is the real Captain America. So excited to get this in my collection. and this is maybe the first of many Tales of Suspense comics I'm going to try to get here.
Yeah.
I think it's a smaller run.
Oh,
It's not as long a run as
yeah.
Iron Man. I realize they're going to be more expensive.
Well, yeah, about 60 issues, right?
Yeah.
So, or yeah.
And some of them I already got. I already got this one. I got 99. I think I got 96.
Yeah.
97. Some of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's very attainable.
The big ones are going to be Hawkeye, first appearance of Hawkeye, first appearance of Black Widow.
Yeah, those two. But you can get those in like a lower grade for a pretty decent.
Exactly. And sometimes it's about owning the comic.
Oh, and the really big one's going to be first appearance of Iron Man.
Yeah, and that one's going to be one of those that
I hope to find it in a bargain bin with no cover or something.
Yes, exactly. Well, I don't know what this was. It's got Iron Man ripping something in the front.
Right, he's in this gray armor. I don't know.
So that one definitely.
I'm so happy that you have that copy. That's if anybody that I knew was going to have it, I wanted him to have it.
And then the next big thing, I came here primarily to get
kick ass and chew bubblegum.
Yes. That's a reference to 22 Comics right there. That's the beginning of his top 10 alternatives.
He does that little. They Live.
Exactly. He has that little blurb right there at the very beginning. I wanted to get some original art, and so I got this idea.
I was stoked about this idea when he.
If you've watched my channel, the first comic I ever bought with my own money was Avengers Annual 10. I love.
Why'd you buy such a crappy book?
Because there was a lot of fighting in it.
Yeah, I mean,
I loved that fight. It was for me. I had no clue that was the first appearance of Rogue. I didn't realize it had a controversial cover that some people don't like. That it's not, because, and I think it's more collectors than readers, because the collectors are going, well, I want Rogue on the front page,
right,
and that kind of thing to make the comic more valuable. That makes the comic more valuable.
We did get some clarity on that cover too when we talked to Al.
Yes. Well, we were under the impression that Al didn't like the cover. That he's like, I kind of did the cover, and it's okay. It's not my favorite cover. When I talked to Al, he said, "What's wrong with this cover? I love it."
He said, "I love this cover."
I
was like, "I've always heard that you didn't like it."
Yes, he's like, "I don't know where you heard that from, but because that ain't the truth."
Yeah, that ain't the truth. But so he actually, Mr. Akins actually prepped this all up himself. This book did not exist.
Yeah, this is a one of one. So what I did was I wanted a sketch cover for a reprint of Avengers Annual 10. Couldn't find one. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a reprint of Avengers Annual 10, and I'm going to put a sketch cover. I'm going to take a sketch cover from another book and put it on this one. So I did a little Jeff from Comic Spa. I actually removed the staples from this and removed the staples from the other one. Took the sketch cover off of that one and put it on this. Put the staples back in the same holes. Put it back together.
And then even more impressive is what he did after that.
After that, I took the cover, the sketch cover part of it, and I retraced this cover right here. This is the original cover. Mm-hmm. I took I didn't have to use the trade dress. Trade dress was already on there, but all these little blocks where it's got the text, I traced each block, each panel, in the text so that inside each panel would be blank. And I said, I'm going to get some artists to draw different pictures inside these right here. And the two artists I really wanted to draw on there were Al Milgrom, who originally did the cover, and Michael Golden, who did the interior art. And
amazing interior art. I love the art on the inside. If you guys haven't seen or read that book, just because it's the first appearance of Rogue isn't just a reason to get that book. The art is amazing.
It is amazing. There is this one spot where Iron Man is about to blast the Scarlet Witch has turned Pyro's flame into stone, creating this big, huge stone figure. And this image right here of Iron Man, where his repulsor rays are getting ready to come out and blast the thing.
Close up there.
It is absolutely amazing. I love the way Michael Golden.
I love the picture where Rogue is KO and Captain America.
And Captain America. Yeah, the one where he gets thrown into the there at the
Or
very
that
beginning.
right where Wonder Man's flying out of the Quinjet and
Yes,
everybody,
I mean,
Avengers assemble.
you got to get this book.
Frickin' A.
Even if you get a reprint of this, you got to get it just for the amazing art in this. I think he's at the top of his game in this. There's so many. He's got dinosaurs in this thing. I love the way he draws the Beast. I love him punching the Vision.
Okay,
yeah, Rogue punching the Vision. I don't want to show
just
too much.
yeah.
I want people to get this book. So
Rogue just manhandles the Avengers.
She does. So I said, now I've got blank spots. I want Al Milgram and Michael Golden to draw in these boxes. So I got those two, the two I was wanting to draw in those boxes, and this is what they were able to draw.
So Captain America KO'd.
Yeah,
there.
Witness Captain America totally defeated.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that Al Milgram action there. I love it. And then Michael Golden right there with some Iron Man action.
Yeah.
Witness the invincible Iron Man
Knocked out of action.
I love it. I love the way he's got Iron Man on there like he has been knocked out of action.
That's so cool.
This is amazing. I can't wait to fill in the other boxes, but I love just looking at these original pieces of art I got in those boxes.
And shout out to Al and Michael Golden. Great job. Great job.
Amazing job.
Michael,
amazing.
No matter what you say, I say you're one of the greatest, most underrated artists of your era, and I really appreciate you.
I love the fact that both of these artists still had lines of people wanting to get their signatures, wanting to get original art from them. Michael Golden was able to do it. I got Michael at the end of the con today to do his part, and Al, there was a lot of people in line for Al, and so I kind of dropped this off.
Al is a character. If you guys haven't met him, the guy's a character. He's amazing.
He took it back, and I figured he would do it that night. I don't think I told you this. He didn't work on it that night. He worked on it that day because he went and he got together with Potts and Simonson and some other people, some of his friends, and they went out and had dinner and had a nice time reminiscing about stuff. And he said by the time I got back to the hotel room, he's like, it's really late. I'm really old. It's time to go to bed. So he got and he worked on it today and finished it up.
Today. What a great job.
When I went up there, he was finishing up. He said, let me finish this up for you.
Very nice.
And then Michael Golden. So both of these really were done today.
Yeah, amazing job by both of these guys. I mean, just beautiful stuff.
The pinnacle, if there's two things, this and this.
Yeah, for sure.
the best of the best, other than maybe that Tales of Suspense number 40. I don't know. This was an amazing experience.
Right.
We talking about them? Talk a little bit about the breakfast in the morning.
Yeah. So we had a wonderful chance to have a great breakfast and hang out with Walt Simonson. A lot of pictures were taken. A lot of stuff posted on the different people from our group's Instagram. So if you guys haven't seen them, we tried to do where we all shared collaboration posts, so you guys can see them on all of our channels. But after the breakfast, actual tears were shed by people who had to leave, and we were just like, we were all friends before, like I said, but we're all brothers now, and we're just, I mean, it was an amazing weekend of hanging out with just
Ryan,
people that.
Ryan, the Colossus Collector, kept saying, I think we're in the Matrix. When let's just go down to the Tom's and let's have some breakfast and with Walt Simonson, and let's talk with Walt Simonson about this, that, or the other. It was absolutely amazing.
Right. No, and then the guy from the Matrix was there.
Yeah, the guy from the Matrix.
The actor from the Matrix, the guy that betrays them. I'm sorry, forgive me for not knowing your name, but he was there having breakfast. So.
You were in the Matrix.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll talk a little bit about some different cards and people that we met quickly. We won't go too long into that, but so Matt Flint,
yes.
Great artist. He will be in my video. He was kind enough to give us both a bookmark and a card.
He has some amazing. I love his style. It can switch from an anime style to more of a Art Adams inspired pieces. Some of the pieces that he had there, especially with that storm, that was just absolutely beautiful.
Got a card from Sean McManus. It was just on his table. Take one. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna grab one of those. Undisputed Comic King. This is the fellow that I got the first roadie from. So That's cool. Here's a sticker from Up North Comics.
Bruce at Up North
Bruce.
Comics.
Up North Comics. If you guys aren't subbed, check them out.
Yes.
Rohan.
Absolute Game of
Absolute
Nerds.
Game of Nerds. Rohan at Back in the Game Comics on Instagram. Check them out. If you guys aren't subbed on any of these guys.
Look at that
Brian, the Colossus Collector.
He's actually doing ARG over there, holding up that.
So yeah, very cool. Let's see who we got here. Tanner T. Ogle, another great artist that I met there at the show. So beautiful stuff. Ava Strigger. All these guys you're going to see in my convention recap video. But beautiful art, amazing young lady, just breaking into things. Cross-Eye Comics. Some little booger stuff there.
Great
So Collector, if you guys have not seen, this guy has the amazing. This is Sova's for Spirits of Vengeance, the amazing
Spotlight,
Marvel Spotlight that has art in the margins by amazing
different people.
Creators.
Can't remember all of them. You're gonna have
There's
to
a ton
watch
of
the
them.
video.
So I posted part of that video on my Instagram. You can watch it. And it's got like 1,000 hits already, but it's amazing. I think I know this guy. What was it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
comics. Brandon, you're awesome. I love you, brother.
Yes.
Another guy, big softy, was getting so teary-eyed at the end. All right. Ryan Best, amazing, beautiful artwork. If you guys haven't, you guys can check him out. Also, you're going to see him. All these guys you're going to see in my video. I think we just talked about these guys, but they have the sticker. But Cross-Eye Comics. Well, I can't show all. Okay, I'm just going to show this side. This is Tim Seeley's art rep. And Tim Seeley agreed to donate to Mission 22. So thank you, Tim. This is Joe from 360 Comics. So hey, Joe, it was good to meet you. Joel, good friend of Mike from Lunch Money Comic, Joe's Comics. If you don't know, Joe has amazing stuff. Check it out. He's online. That's Joe again, so we'll just skip that. I see, Comic Nerds Geek Out. There we go. Comic Nerds Geek Out. I'm sorry, my eyesight is terrible. So there's that. This is the amazing young lady who talked to us about Heroes Con, Carla. So thank you, Carla. This was Yuko Smith. Amazing, beautiful artwork. If you UKO Smith, check him out. He is on Instagram. His artwork is amazing. I don't know why his stuff is not published yet. If you're a publisher, freaking get this guy, dude. Super talented.
It's some amazing watercolor art. That's the medium he was working in.
So beautiful. This is Josh, one of Mike from Lunch Money Comics' friends, also part of that trade for that large, or that box of comics from Ricky. So Joel and Josh, great guys.
Check them out.
I got a citation from the Imperial Magistrate. I tried to use the Jedi mind trick on him.
Well, he was trying to give me a citation, and Bigby tried to come over there and help and say, these are not the YouTubers you're looking for.
Yeah.
Ended up getting another citation for using Jedi mind tricks.
Yeah, so I got a citation for being part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. And also for trying to use the Jedi mind trick. So these are really cool. They were tickets they were handing out to people.
I love it was a ticket for trying.
Trying to use the
Jedi mind trick.
This was a cool fella. He does all his artwork is Golden Age inspired. CaptainClockwork.com.
Yes.
Glenn Whitmore. So here's all his socials. You'll see all these guys in my recap. But Caleb 80. Oh, beautiful artwork also. Caleb 80. Emma 80 Addy. I'm sorry if I mispronounced. Anthony's comic book art. Check them out. Renee, I'm going to pronounce this name complete. Duhame. I'm going to pronounce it Duhame.
Mhm.
But she was a cosplayer, and she also does appliance repair. That's her whole thing. She's a beautiful cosplayer, and that's her spiel is she does appliance repair.
Will she do appliance repair cosplay? Does she come over?
I don't know, but she was amazing. She did great cosplay. I think this is the gal who was doing Tank Girl.
Yes.
And she told me that at some point she started doing appliance repair and found that it was lucrative enough for her to
continue
quit doing anything else and only doing that. Pocket Watch Press, great folks over there, had some amazing artwork, good books. So those guys will be on my video as well. Join us. Oh, this is Project Nausis.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book that Mr. Akins was showing. And we'll end off with a flyer for TerrificCon for our next year. So that's what we got.
Anybody else to shout out? I know Lowe's Comic Journey was there.
Lowe's Comic Journey. I'm sure that 3 Men in a Basement.
I'm sure that he's going to have some videos.
I'm sure. Journey. Yeah.
3 Men in a Basement. They've already done their lives. Go back and look at the lives with Mike, Ryan, the Colossus Collector. Mon Comic was on there.
I'm suspiciously absent because I passed out.
Well, you were tired. You were tired that day. We ran into Cliff on Comics. Check his stuff out. He was there.
What's her name?
Tessa is
a nerd.
She is a nerd.
She was amazing. We were at an art booth, and I was talking to one of the artists, and she was talking to another artist, and I looked over and I go, I know you. She goes, you do? And I go, yeah. She goes, you think? I said,
you think?
YouTube? She says, yep. And I said, Tessa is a nerd. She says, absolutely. And we hit it off and had a great conversation. And then she hung out with a bunch of my friends, and that was really cool. So,
be on the lookout for a very special guest on Council of X, Ryan. He's got a very new intro. This, I'm not going to spoil it.
Anything.
I do not want to spoil it, but you've got
It's me.
You've got to check out Council of X. He's going to have a new intro, and it's going to be amazing.
Yes. Yeah, it's me. And so, yeah, anything else that you wanted to
No, I was trying to think of those things, make sure that
other
those
people that we saw. But yeah,
there's so many
overall, people. I mean, 10 out of 10 would do again. Would recommend
a 10 out of 10. You know what I'm going to give it? A 9.8.
A 9.8. There we go. There was a couple of things. The temperature in the room. I like it cold. He likes it hot. So
no,
I froze.
We're in different parts of the country, so I can't get my house as cool this time of year. It's impossible.
Right.
My air conditioner would freeze up.
So, but other than that, I mean,
I think it's a 9.8. I mean, this is amazing. If you can go to TerrificCon, go to TerrificCon.
Sure.
You will meet some amazing people. I'm sure there are people that we have forgotten.
Oh my gosh, Sean from Pop Comics.
Yes,
I met Sean from Pop Comics. Got to hang out with him. That was amazing. So, Sean, I've already seen your video. Thanks for shouting me out. Oh, Jim from Bronzeville Comics.
Bronzeville, yes, because he was holding up stickers.
He was holding up stickers from everybody talking about them. So
those sticker
Jim,
people.
it was amazing. Great to meet you. Jim and Mr. Akins hit it off, but to find out that they're both math teachers.
Yes.
So that was pretty cool. Gosh. I'm thinking like I'm going to totally forget people that are really important.
Kind of the reason you wanted to do this immediately, while it's fresh on your brain, try to shout out as many people as we possibly can.
We were like, well, we could just do a live later on, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be like going home, and then I got to work right after that, and I don't know when I'll be able to do a live, and oh my gosh, by the time we do, I'm going to have brain fog and have forgotten so much. So we wanted to just record something. The reason we recorded something and didn't do it live here is Mr. Akins' wife was maybe going to call, and we didn't want it to mess up the live stream.
She did call like 3 minutes ago, but
I figured my goodness, he let it go to voicemail.
Yeah, I figured we were wrapping this up. So
we are wrapping it up. So,
but we may do a live.
Yeah, we may do a live just to talk about
so that people
with
can
everybody.
Ask some questions.
Yeah, and with everybody that we can get rounded up. It would be awesome to do. I think somebody mentioned that already in our group that we should do a live stream if possible to just chat about how much fun we had.
Have we mentioned the expertise of Dan's X-Men comics?
We need to mention the expertise of Dan's X-Men comics. I mean, I had him looking at a book for me. He's like, I don't know why you're having it. And I'm like, because you're Dan.
Yeah. It's like having a an expert, a CGC expert, if you want to say multiple ones. I don't know if that's a good thing to say, but you've got an expert that can immediately pick out flaws and tell you exactly what you're dealing with here. He'll go, oh, there, here, and here. I'm like, okay, I didn't notice that.
But he'll just say, but I'm still thinking it's like this grade.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right where you're at. So Dan, we love you. We appreciate you. Have faith in your abilities. And Dan, congratulations on turning $100 into $1,000 on what was roulette.
Roulette.
There you go.
Well, he did go to the dice table a little bit and kind of up it, but it was really the roulette table and his secret method of turning $100 into $1,000.
Which he said almost backfired. So he says
you got to have faith in the method. Trust the process.
6 out of 10
Trust
would
the
not
process.
recommend. But it did end up working out for him. There was a desperation play, a Hail Mary that worked out. So
Troy, I mean, he did
Troy. Oh yeah, we got shout out Troy.
Troy's Toy Box.
Troy's Toy Box. He's going to be giving us a ride to the airport tomorrow. So hey, Troy, thank you so much because the Uber ride here was insanely expensive. Sasquatch. Oh my gosh, dude is running around the convention in a full Wookiee Sasquatch.
Except for his
outfit.
Except for his head.
He had the whole butt. Well, he had his whole butt. He had the hairpiece on.
Right, had the hairpiece.
Just not the face. So he had like sunglasses in his face and this big long hairpiece and just long fur. Everybody thought he was Sabretooth, but he was Sasquatch. Yeah, dude was amazing and has some. Well, he got some fans while we were eating lunch while he's talking like sci-fi.
He started talking about time travel, and there were some people sitting at the table next to us, and so
they were going to get up and leave, and they sat back down.
to listen to tales of time travel.
Time travel theory.
Yeah.
Like why or why not? It would. Well, what would you grab? Where would you go? Why or why not? Would it work?
Why would it
why
work? Why would it not work?
It was interesting.
How to get around the TVA.
Right. Well, yeah. Like you've only theoretically he's like, okay, theoretically you have 5 hours to get away from the TVA. Where do you go? What do you grab? And how are you doing it?
Yeah. Then it just spiraled out of control from there, and that's what made the people sit back down and kind of listen.
So that's something you need to talk about, Sasquatch on something. Maybe get on with Trav and talk about time travel.
He's thought about it a lot. He was ready to go with every answer. He would throw stuff out, and we go, well, what about this?
Yeah.
So he'd been thinking about it. He's the expert in that, and then you know what you need to do? You need to bring Dan along and go, grade this for me, Dan.
There you go. Oh, yeah, in the past.
Yeah, in the past.
Yeah. So, he had lots of theories about why you shouldn't do it, though, too.
Yeah.
So, I think that's going to wrap it up. We're hitting about an hour and a half. So
that's nice.
If you've watched this whole video, I appreciate you. You guys are amazing. And share your love of comics with everyone you meet. I can't emphasize it enough. It has brought me immense joy with like a ton of amazing friends. And what's your catchphrase there?
We'll see you around the comic rack.
There you go.